Hey guys, thanks for checking back into the channel. Well, as the title says, today we're going to be talking about setting up the ocular focus on your new scope. So let's get right to this. Got a Arken Optic here, got an EP5, and this is obviously not a new scope. Now you can check out my other content as far as me thrashing this thing and putting it through the motions as far as the abuse and the torture tests I've done to this thing. But that's not what we're talking about today. Going to be talking about setting up the ocular adjustment on a precision optic. Now, it doesn't need to be an Arken, although that's what we're focusing on here, is your new Arken Optic. Now, if you've been into shooting for a while, or you've been into using precision optics or high quality optics or optics with any sort of adjustment, this may not apply to you. You may already know this and just skip on forward to some of my other content, or watch some great white sharks, or how to do some hoof trimming, or how to grow baked potatoes. I don't know. But if you have a new scope and you're struggling with your setup and you're wanting a little bit of help, that's where we're going to start. So let's get right to it. You got your new scope, you pull this thing out of the box. What is the first thing that you need to set up when you're getting this thing all set up for your shooting? Now, I'm not talking about leveling the optic and mounting the optic. That's something completely different. But what I'm talking about is once the optic is on the rifle and you are at the range and you're getting ready to zero this thing, or maybe before you go to the range, what do you need to do first? And that is setting up the ocular end adjustment. And what that is, it's this guy right here. So you're going to turn this in and out. And what this focus does is this focuses the reticle. All right, this is not going to have much to do with the end picture or the target, though it does to some degree a little bit if you're way off. These have quite a bit of adjustment. You can see how far out I've got that. That goes, and it goes all the way in too. But what the primary deal with this is going to focus your reticle. Now, the way you're going to do this is you need to find yourself something that is blank and clear. The sky, not the sun, but a clear blue sky, a clear white sky, a snowbank, a drywall wall across the way, something that your eye is not going to try to focus on an image at the other end, okay? So if you've got something that's plain, a wall, oh gosh, you know, anything really, just you don't want to be looking at that shop wall right there. You don't want to be looking at a tree or the woods, because your eye is naturally going to try to focus on a limb, a branch, a wheel on a vehicle or something. So you need that plain blue sky, snow bank, sand drift, something like that. And what you're going to do is just look at that and move this ocular adjustment. And what I like to suggest is you go from one extreme to the other if you're new to this. And that's going to help you figure out the range, and it's going to help you figure out how this actually works. And as you turn this while you're looking through the scope, you're going to see your reticle get sharp, crisp, clear edges on it, and you're going to see it get blurry. Now, to do this with one of these Arken optics, because these are all first focal plane scopes, you're going to need to set your magnification up a bit so you can actually see that reticle. Now, if you've got a second focal plane scope you're doing this with, your reticle is going to be the same. Just go ahead and twist this guy. But if you're running a first focal plane scope like all of the Arken optics are, I'd suggest setting this thing maybe in the middle somewhere so you can actually see the reticle and tell if it's getting crisper, clearer for you. You know, on this EP5, if I put this thing all the way down to 5, it's so fine, I could be off by a country mile on this and maybe not even notice. Now, that's the first setup. The first setting, the first thing that you need to do, getting this thing all set up before you even start to get into the one that's, I don't want to say quite a bit more complex, but it is, and that's your side focus and your parallax, okay? So that's going to be the topic for another discussion. But if you're new to owning a scope, you're new to owning an Arken Optics, as there does seem to be a lot of new owners with a lot of beginner questions for these things, the first thing you want to set up is your ocular end adjustment. You do that by staring at a blank area, get this thing all set up, and then we're going to move on to getting your side focus all set up. Hope you find this useful. If you're new to owning precision optics or Arken Optics, let me know in the comments section. Do you have some tips, pointers? Was this useful to you? Yeah, follow along, hit the subscribe, hit that follow if you're going to want to see working through a whole series of getting through the side adjustment, and then also checking your turret. So I'm going to go through a little bit of things with these scopes as far as unboxing it and making sure this thing is all set up and workable before you even get to this point of mounting this thing. All right, so hey, thanks for checking back in, and like I always, keep on shooting.